Hi guys, are you all excited for the Indian T20 League 2021? Well, I am, and I have come across the great fantasy sports app called My 11 Circle, where you can use your cricket knowledge and skills to win in crores. The really unique feature about it is that what you can actually literally play with champions like Dada, Rahane, VVS Laxman on this app. Also, don't please hold your breath, because not only My 11 Circle have all these legendary cricketers on their app, they recently got the kings of energy and awesomeness on board. Ranveer Singh. Yeah, you heard it, that right. Ranveer Singh is on My 11 Circle. Download the app now.
Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnek here for Extra Time. Once again, we're here on a great day of cricket. In fact, today is an official double header. Let's call it Sunday's double header. I'm excited by that very fact. It's great to have two matches, one at an earlier time slot, so we'll see different pitch conditions, different time of the day conditions. It'll be a slightly different match, but for that reason, we're going to have, in that first match, of course, the Royal Challengers Bangalore versus the Kolkata Knight Riders in game 10 of this IPL. Isn't it amazing? We've already had almost 10 games now. It's gone very fast. We've got a good 50 to go. I'm joined today. In fact, also we must note there was a match tonight between Delhi Capitals and Punjab Kings. And thanks to My 11 Circle, our sponsors, we'll have a great coverage here today. And we'll talk about My 11 Circle later as well. But today, I've got three distinguished gentlemen who must all represent the red team because they've all got red or sort of red-coloured shirts. Did you all phone each other before the match? Oh, I'm wearing red, you're wearing red. Is that what you did? I think you did because you're all wearing red. Okay. We have below me on the screen at least, Amit Gupta. Amit is actually based in Mumbai. Then to his right, in fact, he can even shake hands with one of our Bharat Army representatives. In fact, Bharat Army, they're a force to be reckoned with. They're all over the world. Heavy forces, heavy presence. I keep meeting them sitting on the streets. Amazing guys. We have a representative there, Dwap Payan, correct?
Yeah, you got the name right. Congratulations.
But we're going to call you DM for the purposes of today because I want to have some deep and meaningful conversation. So I'm going to call you DM. And last but not least, the very handsome Sumitra Bose. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good afternoon.
I got a smile when I said he's very handsome. I think I might call him that more often.
No.
All right. Thanks, guys. You three are you guys, we're going to have a good chat today. We'll talk about what will be the teams for today, the toss aspects, and any tantrums we might see. I've already noticed the KKR head coach, Brendan McCullum, has been talking quite heavily. He's talking up his side today. He sees it's the next stage of his life as a coach, and he's bringing along a lot of attacking nature to the KKR side. And I think that's pretty evident that a lot of their risk-taking batting performances have been due to the mindset of McCullum. And I think we'll see more of that. I think KKR have performed fairly well this tournament in the early stages, but they're up against a side that's up to this point unbeaten as an RCB. And I would argue they are looking stronger and stronger with the inclusion of Maxwell, and obviously the likes of De Villiers and Kohli there, and their bowling attack. They are pretty damn strong. We've talked about them many times, many years. They're in a good situation, yet to win an IPL. Maybe this is their year. I'm still predicting Delhi Capitals, Mumbai Indians, and RCB to be the top three, and with the Kolkata Knight Riders, the top 4 or 5, depending on how Sunrise is. Hyderabad recover from yesterday's debacle, which was a debacle. Would you agree? Yesterday's match was a debacle for them? Absolutely. All right, I mean, your take on this match today between RCB and KKR.
I think, Norman, before we start on look at the game, we need to go back 14 seasons ago because it was on this day only that the IPL was launched, and the guy who launched it, Brendan McCullum, is still around. He's now the coach of the KKR, and I tell you what a night that was, and I think we owe a lot to that night that we are sitting here and discussing IPL 14 seasons on. And you look at the teams involved that night. You know, Brendan McCullum. You know, he's now coaching KKR. You had Saurav Ganguly, who's now the president of the board. Ricky Ponting is with Delhi. Hafiz is still around. So these are the names. Ridhiman Saha, Ajit Agarkar is a commentator. Dinda is fighting to become an MLA. Murli Karthik. And from the RCB, if you see the RCB 11, Kohli has gone on to become one of the leading, arguably the best batsman in the world across the format. So it has been quite a journey for IPL and for all of them involved in that on that night in the game.
Absolutely. What a fantastic point. I mean, it's brilliant. I am curious about Kohli. I would never, I know he played the first match. I know that. But it doesn't feel like he's been in the game that long. It comes as a surprise to me that he was in the first match. Rahul Dravid was one captain and Ganguly the other. Two powerhouses in cricket now. One as the under-19 coach, one as the head of the BCCI. Both distinguished gentlemen indeed. Even Zach Khan was in that game as well, who's still involved. Very, very true. Very good point. 14 years. I interviewed kids on the street yesterday in my program, Eyes on Cricket, about their take on the IPL. And they were very knowledgeable. They're talking about RCB, KKR, etc., etc. But they were 11, 12, and 13. They weren't even born when this started. It's remarkable to see the level of knowledge in a country like Australia. You'd be surprised. I can walk along the streets of Coogee where I live, and I'll get a conversation about the IPL within minutes. And they're not necessarily Indian-born people. They're Australians. And I'm very, very impressed. The IPL has grown to be the premier tournament in the world, not just in India, by no means. Sumitra, what's your take on today? And also reminisce if you want to. You can reminisce about the starting of IPL. Tell me your thoughts.
I think Amit has wrapped it up very well. And you also, I think, the fact that people are talking about IPL in Australia, that itself shows that how global this tournament has been. I mean, there have been competitors. I mean, there have been tournaments along the way. Like you have the Big Bash in your own country. You have the Caribbean Premier League. You have a Pakistan Premier League. You have a BPL, Bangladesh Premier League. Now England is trying to have their own version of that 100. But it's the marketing that matters, and the global rights, the reach of the global rights. I mean, I think before we had started this conversation, we were all talking that today I can talk to you in Sydney, and Doipayan is in Delhi, Amit is in Mumbai. One thing that COVID has not been able to shut is this conversation.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the best thing about it. And to draw a kind of a similarity, I mean, that is exactly how, like the virus, IPL has expanded throughout the world in a positive manner. But in the sense that, IPL has kept us cheering during this pandemic. We are still laughing. We are talking cricket. We are talking sport. We know there's a virus lurking somewhere, but that hasn't stopped us. So cricket, or let's say /IPL, has been a great leveler. It has brought a lot of happiness to us. We will not dissect the quality of cricket or the format of cricket. That is an entirely separate discussion. Since we are talking IPL, it's been a great leveler, and during this time of pandemic, it has all kept us smiling, happy, and looking forward to life.
Absolutely. Just quickly, we're still in Chennai today at Chepauk, and there's certainly been a trend with very low scores on this ground. The last match was quite low indeed, with I think it was 150 and 137. To me, I'm not expecting high scores today. DM, we need your deep and meaningful share with us your thoughts. What's your thoughts about today?
Yeah, about the Chennai game, I'm looking forward to that game very intently because it's the first afternoon game of this year, and Chennai has thrown up very interesting matches so far because teams, remember, on the RCB have been able to chase down a total successfully so far in this IPL at all games in the Chennai stadium. So all teams, I think, would be hoping for the sun-baked pitch under the sun afternoon game to play slightly better for the batsmen. And I feel that it's all about how the batsmen can apply themselves better because as we saw a couple of matches in the last week, how batsmen have thrown away their advantages after being in winning position. So it will be interesting to see it sort of uncharted supporters for RCB and KKR as they embark on the first afternoon game of the year?
No, it's going to be very interesting indeed. I think it's going to even the contest somewhat that it's in the daytime, despite being on the Chennai wicket. I think it'll be a lot more of an even contest. I think that spells good for KKR. The toss will be relevant to an extent, but RCB have started off very, very well this tournament. In particular, like some Maxwell coming into the side, they appear very balanced. We've all talked about, Amit and Sumitra very much, we talked about balance, hunger, the being on the day, and having a guy like Brendan McCullum in your pocket for KKR would be a great thing. But RCB have got Simon Kadich, have they not? And Simon Kadich, interestingly enough, he did have a role with KKR previously, didn't he? Now, I know Simon Kadich very, very well. He is a true leader. His ability with would you believe he was a director of, let's call it, of both various cricket sides at the highest level in Australia, as well as KKR. But at the same time, he was also in a leadership role with Aussie Rules, our form of football. He has leadership qualities across all sports. When you hear him talk, you listen. He's a mild-mannered man, a very polite man, but he knows his cricket. He could easily have been an Australian captain if given the opportunity, I believe. He was that good, and he's showing that with the way he performs. They go to him very much so, and I think that's a big feather in the cap of RCB in particular. I think that's a great advantage for him. But McCullum also brings that Kohli-like aggression to the team. I think that's also very important. It's amazing when I talk to people in Australia, I mention the word Kohli and their eyes light up. Kohli has enormous respect in Australia, enormous. I don't think you guys realise how much the Australians think of Kohli. His attacking brand, his fearless attitude, and that's pervaded through the last 3 or 4 years of cricket against Australia and Australia. We know that. Amazing man. Kohli has such a presence in Australia. It's a pity for us that he can't play BBL, to be honest with you. I think there's fundamentally something wrong there. I think that I understand the IPL is the top brand, but I think Indian players should be given the opportunity to play other tournaments. Not necessarily all of them, but certainly tournaments in England and Australia. I think it's worthy of note. They should be a part of that as well, because Australian public yearns to see him play, and that's the truth. He's a global player. He's not just an Indian representative, and I think we need to note that. All right. So the last game, there were very, very well. So there have been few changes, except for one team, Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, did you see what happened yesterday when Warner said, "I've got 4 changes"? Go look at the timesheet, the team sheet. He didn't actually. He couldn't articulate the 4 names. Quite incredible. Very disappointing, and I was very scathing on my commentary yesterday about that, because I can't comprehend being one of those 4 players about to enter his team, the Sunrise Hyderabad, and my captain not articulated I'm in the side to say, "Go look at the team sheet." That is a bit of an insult, I'm afraid, and I was not impressed with that. But regardless of that, I think that damaged Sunrise Hyderabad yesterday. They changed too much. They desperately wanted Williamson on the side. But these 2 sides, I think my first impression is there'll be very few changes. What do you guys think? Sumitra, what do you think?
I think so. I think that RCB will definitely not change their combination. What has made them a winning side is because they have taken 18 wickets in 2 matches. I mean, you can score all the runs. But at the end of the day, you have to take the wickets at the right places, which they have done. And there is no question of changing teams. I think you mentioned about Warner or Sunrisers making 4 changes yesterday. It actually reflects on the instability in the team. The management is still not sure what to do. It is a very clear thing. You notice Chennai Super Kings. Very rarely you will see Dhoni will make changes. Yeah, he wants to stick to certain plans, because one, it is a long tournament. 3 defeats mean nothing. I mean, you can always come back. The history of the tournament shows that teams have come back after 3 defeats, and they have actually gone to win. But I don't think RCB will make any changes. And I also think that Morgan, being an England captain, he will also not make any changes. Why should they? You have to back a certain team and believe that in themselves. Can Morgan drop himself? No. Can you drop Russell? No. You can't drop Nitish Rana. You can't drop Rahul Tripathi. You cannot drop Shubman Gill. Then, if 7 members in your team are there, and you can't drop Pat Cummins, you can't drop Varun Chakraborty, I don't think there will be too many changes. This is the first day game. There will be no due factor, so that is a big factor out of the way. And as you rightly said, that if I was RCB captain, if I won the toss, I would like to bat because I have the batting strength. And since my bowlers have taken 18 wickets, I will back them to, restrict KKR or win the match for them. So I don't see too many changes, but it will be a pretty good match.
I think this game is going to be a lot closer than we first imagined. I think there's a lot of synergy between these two teams, and I believe they're going to. This is extremely important for KKR, also for RCB, but more important for Kolkata Knight Riders. If they can assert authority over an RCB team, it's going to be immensely powerful for them. Like last night's game, the lack of a Jason Holder was damaging to the side, particularly. I think I almost got the impression that Warner wasn't happy with the selections. And if you look at look very closely when you watch this match, what's the dynamics of players? You watch Kohli and Dan Christian make eye contact regularly. Dan Christian is extremely important, a winning player in so many leagues. That connection is very strong. In yesterday's match, Warner was there in the middle of his players, but at one stage, Bairstow and Williamson were far to the right, having a deep conversation well away from the rest of the players. That sends a signal. I'm afraid how it sends a signal. And there's many animated shots of Williamson and Warner talking also, and there appear to be, not dissension, but some frustrations. Now, whether that's with the selection of the team or what, I don't know, but body language is a huge factor. You won't see any of this body language existing on any of the social media platforms. Yes, Amit.
About the Hyderabad SRH team, I'd like to point out, you see, there's a confusion about P. Natarajan. Tom Moody came out and said that it was about rotation and rest and workload management. DVS Lakshman has said that he has a knee niggle. Now, what's the truth? No one knows. So there seems to be, see, if the two people in coaching staff don't know what is the reality. One is saying workload, one is saying niggle. So then there is a confusion, right? So that is also a thing that teams who want to win would need to sort of fine tune, at least come out with one statement about injury, which is one of the most basic things.
Absolutely.
And also about RCB. RCB never had a problem about leadership. Kohli is a great leader. He has not won IPL as such, but there is no doubt about his leadership that he's going to lead. They have always had a team. AB de Villiers, Chris Gale, Shane Watson. They have always had Dale Steyn. They have always had team, but they have not been able to win consistently, right? So that part is, at some point of time during the IPL, they will need to win consistently. They've started well, now they need to continue. That's the important thing about it.
Absolutely. Dan.
Yeah, about the RCB point, I wanted to add a couple of points. During the lockdown last year, all the cricketers were meeting live. They're having conversations on all social media platforms. Virat and AB came together for a live chat on Instagram, and they were just discussing about how in RCB's future they look forward to enjoying their cricket more than having a very rigid focus on how to win the IPL. When IPL 2020 happened, we could see that if you follow RCB's social media handle, you see how relaxed the team tries to be, and to some extent we got to see the results. About the 2021 season, I think for all RCB fans, it's a dream start to win both their opening games. And the biggest takeaway, more than the wins, was the bowling options that Virat Kohli had. There were as many as 7 bowling options in both the games that he used, and Maxwell was not used. Even he is a more than handy off-spin bowler. So, in so many times in the past, when RCB has scored 200 with their explosive batting lineup, halfway through the chase, Virat Kohli is looking around to all parts of the field that how do I stop the opposition team chasing down 200? In some way, Harshal Patel, Shehbaz Ahmed, that over that he gave to Shehbaz Ahmed, it really turned the game on its head. So such crucial decision making at decisive moments of the game has won RCB two games so far in 2021. Lastly, there's a small thing I want to point out is the Virat. It was interesting how Virat Kohli came up for the post match presentation after the Hyderabad game. He spoke along the lines of not getting ahead of ourselves and taking it one game at a time because IPL is a long tournament. RCB fans, Norman at the start of the show mentioned that how is this gonna be RCB's year, and it is something that us as RCB fans have been asking ourselves for more than a decade now. So it's become a sort of sorry tale for them each year, but this year they are bright points here and there. So that's good to see.
Okay, Sumitra, we know we've talked about the coaching. I mentioned before, of course, Simon Kadich. Mike Hessen is also there in a director role, isn't he? I've noticed some teams have got some bizarre categorizations. In fact, is it Rajasthan Royals do not have an actual head coach? They have a director with Sangakkara, but not a head coach. I'm confused with that.
They have a coach. They have a coach in Zubin Barocha. Zubin is the coach. So, and it's like you'll be more confused to see SRH if you have Tom Moody. Like yesterday, Tom Moody said that Tom Moody is not the coach. When you have Trevor Bayliss, then how do you fit in Moody? So very confusing. It's extremely confusing. Then you have Lakshman.
VVS,
then you have Muralidharan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
The reality is that you've hit the mistake there. To me, the leading coach in that group has to be Trevor Bayliss. He has a great deal of success worldwide. He is the head coach, but I think there's a certain amount of demarcation going on. You've hit the nail on the head between four of those gentlemen. It makes it very confusing.
Definitely. Who will want to listen to? I mean, who will want to listen to? And imagine what happens to the youngsters. Warner can figure this out, but what about the youngsters? And when you have made 4 changes, what is expected of you? But that way, I think RCB is much better place. Just 2 people, Hessen and Katic and Kohli. That's it, and they make the decisions. And that is why.
Let's be honest. Trevor Bayliss doesn't suffer fools very easily. Trevor Bayliss is a very quiet but hard taskmaster, a very logical man, a very intelligent man. He wouldn't put up with some of the Warner antics, I'm sorry, and certain things that Warner's showing by not announcing the 4 players by name before the match. Trevor Bayliss would pull him up after and say, "What are you doing? Pull your head in." And that's a very, very good thing. But something
especially, I want to add something, Norman. Yesterday, the way Warner got run out. Yeah. Even Hardik Pandya was surprised that he was long short. He was more than 3 feet short. He said that when he was asked, Hardik Pandya, about that fantastic run out, he said, "I don't practice fielding. I just took a chance and it hit the wickets." But what he said very importantly, that Warner would be so much short he didn't expect. That means somewhere down the line, there is a lack of intensity on part of the captain. He should have actually taken the match right till the end, and Hyderabad would have easily won. So there is some confusion somewhere. I mean, apart from the number of coaches, head coaches, these various these designations that you give them, but I think that is the simple problem. Too many cooks spoil the broth. It is happening with SRH, and it will also happen with one of my favorite teams, Rajasthan Royals, at some stage.
Yeah.
Amit, go ahead.
The Soumitra talked about too many cooks. You know how you should look at how the Indian team has kept it simple. You know, when Ravi Shastri was appointed, he was given an option of you take this guy as bowling coach, this guy as batting coach in England and Australia and this and there. He said no. And there's a coach, there's a fielding coach, there is a batting consultant, there is a bowling consultant. That's it. No one else. No one else is there. No manager, nothing above him, nothing below him. Simple chain of command. There is a captain, there is a coach, there is a batting coach. So that simple chain of command also helps at times. Which
absolutely,
I think someone like SRH or someone like Rajasthan Royals are getting it wrong. I don't know. So that's what I feel from here.
Absolutely. Bang on the number. I mean, if it's so obvious to you and I, why aren't they seeing that? That's what I don't get. Really.
It's more than it's more of a marketing and some. It is. I don't think it has got anything to do with cricket.
No. DM.
Yeah, one point I wanted to add as we talk about various, there are more than one people handling the top position in a team. Mr. Bose, you must remember KKR's second season back in 2009 when Brendan McCallum was the coach, was the captain of the side, and there were too many people who professed the idea of multiple captains on the field. It was a new thing, but it
Yeah.
went spiraled. It spiraled down for all KKR's chances that year. They could not
Yeah.
properly get the results. So every time I see too many people trying to make the decisions at the topmost level for any IPL side, good things don't eventuate out of that. You see CSK. CSK has been a top team for IPL. There are only two people managing the side for more than a decade. Stephen Fleming, MS Dhoni. They keep it simple. They are making it's not easy to keep things simple, you know. But for SRH, Trevor Pellis is a World Cup winning coach now. He, coached the Sri Lanka side to the World Cup final in 2007. So he's an experienced person. He knows what he does. But SRH losing all three matches now is a difficult place that they find themselves in. To qualify, they would now need to win 8 out of 11 games. That's more than 70% winning percentage, which is very difficult to achieve in a as competitive tournament as the IPL. So grim scenes at the SRH camp.
Now on the point as well of KKR. Now, I talked about that earlier. Brendan McCullum is effectively a great leader, and he will be he's very good for this team. So is Simon Kaddish. Therefore, these two teams have got what I would argue a more stable approach. It's very, very clear. Rajasthan Royals, despite the up and down form, they are in a fair bit of trouble. Delhi Capitals, if you listen to Ricky Ponting talk, marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. And I think they're in great hands. And look, I'm a Delhi Capitals fan. I think you know that. I believe they've got a very good chance of winning this year. They had an off game last game, but I'm glad they had that off game now and not have a brilliant tournament and then fail at the end. And that's an interesting dynamic, is to have a failure early on, get your act together. And if you go smoothly along, as is what happened last year with Delhi Capitals, they came second, didn't they? They looked the goods and they choked at the end. I think they've learned a lot from that. I think this is their year. But obviously they're going to have to get past RCB and Mumbai Indians, aren't they? All right. The toss is about to happen in a matter of 2 minutes, and we'll see team selections. We're all not predicting too many changes. Amit.
And Norman, you also have to look at what the teams do off season, how they take care of their players. And if you look at Mumbai Indians, if you look at Delhi Capitals, if you look at Chennai Super Kings, I think they are amazing on how they go about in their preparation. Last year, I can tell you with some knowledge that last year Mumbai Indians, while it was raining heavily in Mumbai Indians had arranged an indoor camp for their players, right? Delhi and also their scouting is almost perfect. Same with Delhi Capitals, their scouting is perfect. So if you don't prepare for a season well, you guys are going to have problems like SRH is having or like RR will have. So that is also an important part of winning an IPL with CSK, Mumbai Indians, and probably Delhi Capitals have also got it right at some level.
Exactly. And I'm a little bit skeptical of the social media platforms. Why? They've got large viewership,
Yeah.
yes. But we're only seeing what they want us to see.
Yeah.
We're not seeing anything to do with the Warner situation at all. If you look at SRH's media, you swear they were in love with each other. It is it's actually quite annoying because don't forget we're getting this in-depth behind the scenes look, but what they want to show us. Let's not forget that. DM.
Yeah, one thing as we speak about the coaching of Delhi Capitals, I'm not surprised Norman is a Delhi Capitals fan because we have Ricky Ponting over there, we have Steve Smith over there now. So all Australians might be backing Delhi Capitals
Hang
now,
on a
but
minute. Hang on a
it's
minute. I'm a Rishabh Pant fan. Beg your pardon.
okay. Okay, I'll take your word for that. So, what the point I was trying to make is, now Steve Smith has now gone from being the Rajasthan Royals captain to being someone who forms the bench at Delhi Capitals. So sometimes when you're talking, Steve Smith is one of the best batsmen of our generation across formats. There's no doubt. Even in the T20 ODI series that India had done to Australia, he scored 260 ball centuries against India. So it will not
Sorry,
be
guys.
easy to manage.
Breaking news. I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
have
sure.
breaking news. RCB have won the toss and have chosen to bat. So there
Oh,
you
that's
go.
great news.
RCB.
That's great
Yeah.
news. Just finishing off on my point, it will be quite interesting to see what value Steve Smith can bring to the side while being on the bench. Because you look at players like Williamson, Ajinkya, Rahane, they are proper team men. You know, they will come play for 2 games, but they while they are at it in all the training sessions, they set a particular standard. So I think only Ricky Ponting can handle a top class player like Steve Smith and Delhi Capitals. I think they know what they are doing so far to go as to say how well the management and coaching is being done at Delhi Capitals. So RCB winning the toss is a big news. So with Mr. Bose, Mr. Amit, sir, what do you think? How much will they score on a sticky Chennai pitch?
It's an afternoon game. It's an afternoon game. No one knows. No one knows. I mean, what's happening in last few games? You don't know. 150 looks a safe target, but this is IPL. What happens in the next game? Only, only. I don't think anyone can predict what's going to happen in an IPL game. Not even the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah,
Not even the best of the analysts who do a lot of data digging can come up with a perfect prediction of an IPL. If you get it
yeah,
right, fine enough. If you don't get it wrong, if you get it wrong, don't worry about it.
yeah. The beauty of the game lies in its uncertainty, doesn't it?
I don't know now if it does.
Sumitra,
Sumitra?
your thoughts. Sumitra, provide your thoughts. Sumitra, what's your thoughts on this with RCB now batting? I think we talked about that earlier, and them taking charge. A very
I think
distinct win.
no. I mean, this is something we discussed. I was telling you that if I was RCB captain, I would have won the toss and batted.
Exactly.
Because yeah, that's exactly what Kohli has done. I mean, we were looking at figures. I mean, as Amit said, that you can never predict what is a winning score. But I would imagine that since 150 has been average score, Virat Kohli will look for at least 25 runs more, so 175 to 180. That will be a good question. And the biggest advantage is that RCB have the bowling to counter the batsmen in the KKR side. That means they have this Shabazz and they have Chahal, who's a leg spinner, and the kind of batting that I don't know. You haven't mentioned about the teams. Have there been any major
No,
changes in the team?
not yet. Coley's just spoken. He said the surface looks better than the one they played on last time. Well, we need enough runs.
Dan Christian misses out.
We're playing just 3 overseas players today. That's a very important
Yeah,
point. Only 3. And
yeah,
Christian misses out, and
yeah. Dan
Rajat
Christian.
Patidar is back.
Yeah,
Who?
And he's a top player of spin, and that's the
Rajat
reason why he's been
Patidar.
brought in.
Oh, Patidar. So yeah, that's why. See, this is another beauty thing of the RCB team. I mean, if you look, it is because of Kohli that players like Washington Sundar and Mohammad Siraj have come up. Because there was this press conference that Ravi Shastri did a few days back. He said that if normal course, if we hadn't taken this huge contingent to to Australia, about 30 people, players like Natarajan and Washington Sundar would probably have never played Test cricket in their lives.
True.
Yeah. And Siraj, you look the way Siraj was backed by Kohli. I mean, and the kind of the whatever he delivered in Brisbane, it is amazing. It is so I am not surprised that Kohli, because you see at the end of the day, you have to back your own players, and in this very 20-over format, you will expect your own players to do better than the overseas players. I think in terms of overseas players, I think he has got the right people at the right places. And if you notice, the ability to take wickets is going to be the clinching factor. And I think Kohli will back his bowlers today. and around 175 to 180 should be a good score to win. That is my prediction.
I'm very impressed with the fact that Kohli, there seems to be a preoccupation with having 4 overseas players.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. The best
No,
team
not
is
at all.
3, take 3. So be it. And I think that's a great move. But Dan Christian, don't worry. He may not be playing, but he'll be in the ear of Kohli when needed. His presence is extremely important. Do not underestimate Dan Christian's involvement in the squad. He's virtually another coach because of his experience at winning competitions. And it's very important.
I have seen Dan Christian sitting with Kohli on the bench, and they have a lot of discussion. So as you rightly said, that the knowledge that Dan passes on to Virat, that is something very good. So you don't need to have designated directors and coaches. Your teammates can, your teammates can. That's why this is something like Brad Hodge did at some stage in IPL, if you remember, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I must quickly say that the reality is, there's often people who are for or against Kohli as captain. You know what? He's often said to be the leader and doesn't like to listen. It's the complete opposite. Virat Kohli is a very good listener. A very, very good listener. Not only with his own team, but his own batting performance. He adjusts. He did it in the England series. He adjusts his batting somewhat from innings to one innings to the next. The man should be given a lot of credit because he does listen. I think he listens more than people give him the credit for. Ahmed, your thoughts on these? There's been no changes, by the way, to KKR. Morgan's kept the same side.
I think this only three foreigners playing is a very, very interesting move, and this might just set the trend, because everyone has been talking about how the depth of Indian cricket and depth of batting, depth in bowling, and it might just, if you don't need the fourth foreigner, you don't play him. It's not compulsory, so it might just set a trend. I don't know if this has happened often in IPL where they have played three foreigners. I don't recall. I'm pretty bad at recalling past matches, so to say. But I frankly don't recall. It's a very interesting thing. It might set the trend. It's a trend-setting move. I would say trend-setting move.
Oh, it's excellent. DM.
Yeah, I feel I remember something contrary to Amit sir's ability of recalling past matches. I'm pretty good at it. I can remember how previous matches panned out, what worked, what doesn't. Australia at the first decade of this century, there was a funny joke that used to go around that Ponting at the toss, you used to win tosses 9 out of 10 times. He used to choose to bat. On that one occasion, out of 10 times, he used to think and then choose to bat, nevertheless. So I feel something about top teams, that why they like to, they would like to put themselves to bat first, get that big score, and then back their back their bowlers to do well. Because RCB's bowlers have rose up to the occasion in the first 2 games. I think Kohli has a certain confidence now that even if we score a middling target at this Chennai ground, where other than his team, nobody has found it easy to chase. These are good signs for RCB going forward. So yeah, good thing. And about KKR, Morgan is again a World Cup winning captain. I feel it's his calm demeanor, calm approach towards the game. Even when a match is going down for a particular side, they look at the captain. Morgan is so poker faced. He's so calm. He's so expressionless, placid with how he, carries himself on a cricket field. I'm very happy with KKR appointing him as the captain, and things will go right for them at some point of time in the tournament. It's a good matchup tonight.
But having said that, though, you can have a different type of captain that is very emotive, very emotional, very inspirational, and can be very good too. So it's yin and yang. It doesn't necessarily mean one is better than the other. They both complement each other. That is why Kohli and Rahane are a great double team, double act. And I believe that's very much evident in the Test series. The way Rahane had the calming influence, Kohli is the one that dashes or charges. They're both great qualities. Sumitra. Okay, we need to surmise the victory side. Who's going to be the victorious team today and why? Sumitra, you start.
KKR will win today. That is my thought. Yes,
Okay.
you wanted. No, I haven't bet. I didn't put any bets, but the fact is that.
Did I mention anything about bets? I didn't mention anything about bets. You're mentioning about bets.
Yeah, you have My 11 Circle as one of your sponsors, but if I can make a crore today, you never know. But I don't bet like that. But I'm saying that KKR will be very hungry today, and and given it is a day game, they will have a very clear total in mind to chase. That is the best thing. And don't forget that the entire team has a lot of ability to score. They just you need one spark to get them. Like Morgan needs to score, Russell needs to score, and the top three youngsters are scoring already. So if six people can score, they will be able to score the runs that is required. I think what their first target will be to keep RCB to a score less than 150, 160. Again, they have the ability. They have all the classy bowlers, Varun Chakravarti, Pat Cummins, everyone. But I will back KKR to win because they'll be very hungry. And if they can beat RCB, it would be a massive confidence booster because this is the last set of matches they are playing in Chennai. And after that, they'll be moving to a new place. I think nothing better than beating a team like RCB. It will be a huge confidence booster to Morgan's team.
That's exactly my thoughts about the hunger. I agree with you. If they have got the hunger, then they're in a better position.
I wanted to ask, because after the last defeat, one of their co-owners, Shah Rukh Khan, was very disappointed, and he made that in that feeling very in a social media, which everybody, and to that Russell responded that this is not the end of the world. It's just one game that we have lost, and Russell will be very very hungry to prove Shah Rukh Khan wrong in the right manner. I mean, in the right spirit, in the positive spirit. And today is the day to do that.
Amit, your take, your thoughts on the victory.
As I said earlier, I would not get into predicting the winner, but I will only say one thing, that Virat Kohli having sensed that his team is showing some spark at the start of the tournament, I don't think he will. He would want it to. We would let it go from here. They have the top five to get runs and the bowlers now. So Virat Kohli would want to carry this momentum forward, win 4-5 games on the trot, and be ready for the knockout stages if it comes to that.
Before we go to DM, we're gonna need to go to our sponsors, My 11 Circle, which are a very important part of our program. We're going to go to My 11 Circle now and hear from our sponsors. If Debashis is there.
Hi guys, are you all excited for the Indian T20 League 2021? Well, I am, and I have come across the great fantasy sports app called My 11 Circle, where you can use your cricket knowledge and skills to win in crores. The really unique feature about it is that what you can actually literally play with champions like Dada, Rahane, VVS Laxman on this app. Also, please hold your breath, because not only My 11 Circle have all these legendary cricketers on their app, they recently got the kings of energy and awesomeness on board. Ranveer Singh. Yeah, you heard it, that right. Ranveer Singh is on My 11 Circle. Download the app now.
All right, thank you for My 11 Circle. It's been fantastic. DM will get your point of view as to who will be victorious and why.
Yeah, about the victory part, I feel RCB, if they can tick a certain boxes, they will be in a right position to have a stronger hold at this game. I'm really glad to see the inclusion of Rajat Patidar. He did well in the practice games for RCB before as part of the pre-season camp. So at Kohli opening, if we can have Maxwell at number 4, De Villiers at number 5, that explosive young uncapped batsman for RCB at that number 3 place. Overall, RCB is covering all bases. Now, as far as Kohli's personal form is concerned, it's a very identical performance he came up with in the first 2 games: 33 runs, 29 balls, 4 fours, and he got out at the first ball of 14th over in both those games. So, I am not, as an RCB fan, I'm not worried about Kohli and ABD, because invariably over the years, I know they will somehow, at some point of time in the tournament, they will come good. It's about those Indian players around them that can, win them games. Successful IPL sides like MI and CSK have 7, 8 players throughout those season who have stepped up during various parts of the tournament and performed well. For RCB to go far, and in today's game only, one game at a time, more than 2, 3 players stepping up, doing the job, and I want RCB to go fast.
It actually looks like a very, very exciting RCB lineup when you look at the two youngsters and Padikkal and Patidar coming in opener and first drop, surrounded by the Kohlis, Maxwells, and De Villiers. That is a great blend. It really is. And my hat off to Kohli to give this man a chance in this match, because if he proves good form, they're going to equal Mumbai Indians in terms of firepower with batting, I think. And that's going to be intriguing. I know I've talked about Delhi Capitals, but it's three teams that to me are going to be fighting it out. That's RCB, Mumbai Indians, and Delhi Capitals. Those three do stand themselves apart. Even though I agree with Sumitra, KKR are going to be hungrier today. That should see them win today's match. Whether they win the overall tournament is another question. All right. Gee, you've been wonderful, guys. But I must admit, we're going to have to make sure that we ring each other before, because we can't all wear red shirts. Red's not...
I'll make sure I'll wear white next time when I do.
I mean, you can wear a combination of mauve and pink.
Mauve and pink. Okay. I will have to consult Karan Johar what is mauve and what is pink, because to my mind there is only red, blue, yellow, gray, white, black. What is this mauve and all red and pink? I don't know. I'll dial up Karan Johar to know.
Yeah, to see Norman laughing at a Karan Johar joke, it's like a very great thing for Indian Bollywood, right? Indian, how people get all references and also. Norman, do you watch Bollywood? Do you like Bollywood?
Of course I do. I was married to a Sri Lankan, which is not Bollywood, but I love the subcontinent.
Oh, yeah. Last thing about the dressing code. Every kid in my age, they get IPL jerseys and all. I thought, why should I fall behind? Yesterday with my father, I ordered all 6 IPL jerseys, barring KKR and Punjab, because I wasn't getting them for some reason. Next game, with the jersey I have, you already know which team I'm supporting for that game.
Oh, so you're telling me that you'll change tops every time a team wins? Is that what you're telling me? No.
Every time. Yeah, that's true.
Now, you notice I've got the extra time hat. Your feet, because of my beautiful figure, I'll be on all the magazines for extra time. Maybe not too many side-on shots, maybe more front-on from about 50 foot away, but I'll be the male model. I know you're jealous, guys. Just calm down, guys. You're not as good-looking as me. Obviously, I am the best-looking man here. Would you all agree? Of course.
Yes, absolutely. There's no doubt.
All right, guys. Fantastic show. We're a little bit early. We can go a bit further. We generally stop around the 8-minute mark before the match starts to let people get a cup of tea and get ready. Any thoughts about the next match? We'll dedicate the next 3 or 4 minutes to the next match. That is Delhi Capitals versus Punjab Kings. What's your thoughts on that? Will Delhi bounce back?
Delhi will bounce back, because Ponting was very clear. I mean, what the good thing about Ponting is very upfront. He said that they made a mistake by under bowling Ashwin, and Ashwin is going to be a very key man today, because he's got fantastic record against Gale and Puran, and these two are their chief run makers for Punjab Kings. I think if Punjab Kings can address their middle order overs, their problems, then they can match the Delhi Capitals. Otherwise, not. And in terms of bowling and balance, Delhi are equally as good as any other team in the competition, especially with Andrich back and Rabada there, 2 of the best bowlers from the tournament from last year. Punjab will have a difficult time to beat Delhi Capitals today.
Very good point. Amit.
Norman, this Ponting's comment also left me a bit confused. Ponting is just sitting in the dugout and there is no crowd. I mean, how can no one from the whole coaching staff not tell the captain or convey the message that just bowl Ashwin? How can Ashwin bowl 3 overs with all the, you have so many brains sitting in the dugout. It's an empty stadium. You can just shout from the dugout, just bowl Ashwin. Look, I know Ponting was forthcoming with his thoughts that they committed a mistake, but
Ponting suffered a brain fade because there was Smith around him, so he suffered a brain fade.
It's contagious now, isn't it?
No, I'm joking.
That was just especially that was nasty.
Very nasty. Sorry, it was a bouncer, but I didn't mean it.
I agree with Sumitra. Actually, it was actually a brain fade. You cannot put it down to anything else other than a brain fade. That you don't bowl 4 overs from Ashwin. I mean, it's criminal to say the least. Actually.
But let's just remember though, one thing about Ponting is he's also a coach that doesn't mind letting a captain make a mistake to learn from it.
Right.
And I think that's important sometimes too. He could have saved the bacon by doing what you said, of course. But maybe Ponting thought, okay, let's let him play that out here and see what he's doing. Because you can afford to make that mistake now, not later.
In fact, Norman, he admitted that it was a backroom error. He may use those words. This was a backroom error. That means he took that responsibility on himself. Did not say that Rishabh made a mistake. That's the greatness of Ponting.
Absolutely. Dan.
Yeah, when we started this conversation on DC versus Punjab game, and when you started saying something along the lines of who will make a comeback, I thought we were speaking about Punjab. What about that match last time against Chennai? They were pulled out for 106, and it was a moral sapping loss. Now Wasim Jaffer, who is one of the coaching staff at Punjab Kings, at the start of the IPL this year, said that we'll get to see an aggressive KL Rahul will go out, play his shots, not the conservative approach of last year. But after seeing this performance, KL Rahul got run out in that game, right? After him, Punjab Kings just, they fell down like a pack of cards. So I feel it's interesting to see the approach that KL Rahul's batting could be on. And secondly, about Delhi Capitals game last time, I look at Rishabh Pant as captain. When you look at a new captain, apart from the scorecards, apart from the numbers, you try and look at the captain and observe 2-3 things like his body language and all. When Avesh Khan was being taken to the cleaners by one of the batsmen, I forget the name of the batsman, but we saw a Rishabh Pant running towards him, giving an arm over Avesh Khan. Avesh Khan is taller than him, so something like this. But still, it's good to see a captain. He's trying to take ownership of things. And again, great by Ponting to not throw one under the bus in any way. He's healing his players, very characteristic of him. So overall, even though this loss will not be a major setback for Delhi Capitals, as long as the lessons are learned and not committed again in the future.
Very good, very good. All right, quickly, let's get decisions on the second game. This is like a pre for that game. Delhi Capitals or who will actually win? Delhi Capitals or Punjab Kings? Amit.
I think Delhi Capitals. I think until and unless Mayank Agarwal somehow gets his game together and they have a great start to the innings, I think Punjab is going to struggle against any team. I would say any team.
Sumitra.
Yes, I agree with Amit because, as I mentioned, that the bowling is much better. Delhi's bowling is much better. Batting they have. Everybody is scoring. Shikhar is scoring. Prithvi is scoring. Rishabh is scoring. I think the batting is sorted. Stoinis is always going to be a match turner. I won't say a match winner. He can turn match anytime he wants. But what will make the difference is the bowling attack. And the bowling attack, definitely Delhi is far better than Punjab Kings, where you can't expect Arshdeep Singh to win matches for you.
Very good point. DM, a final comment.
Yeah, just so that guys you guys know more about me, I'm part of the TC crew. It's the Delhi Capitals official fan base. We have an online presence. Our main work is to make content at the online social media content for our Delhi Capitals. We've got fan features and everything. It's a large group now. We are a group of 100 to 100 people working behind the screens every time TC plays a match. So we have a watch party, as in whenever TC plays a game, all Delhi crew people, we join in through DC Toli and official social media. We go live, and it's a very enjoyable process for us. And Delhi Capitals, I feel, not only because I am part of the TC Toli, even if I try to maintain a neutral perspective, is a very good team. And Punjab at the moment have many answers to seek. And TC look all set to take the game in the evening.
Excellent. All right. There we have it. We're pretty heavily Delhi Capitals in terms of the next match. This match, certainly RCB in favour, but Sumitra's, and I haven't actually odd man out, and I think we need to finish with my crystal ball. Amit, remember my crystal ball? I'm saying Delhi Capitals is clearly there in that second match. The first match, I'm wavering, but it's RCB. So we'll see whether we're right. All right, guys. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. But next time, not all red shirts, please. We'll just mauve and cerise and pink and whatever. All right.
But not
thanks. Exactly. So this is Norman Kochner signing off from Extra Time. See everyone into their post matches. Enjoy both games. I'm also at my Eyes on Cricket platform in a middle discussion. You can join that as well. So guys, take care, and we'll see each other soon again. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, great.
Bye.
Great to be here. Thank you.